This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
What is going on tonight, my man?
Well, more drama in the digital world.
Oh, yeah.
Can't quite get hooked up yet, but maybe it'll happen. I'll pop this up real quick here because I don't know what's going to happen. We're hoping to have Austin Earley on the program. But we're having that ever popular digital whatever microphone camera thing not working. You would think this is 2024. Crap ought to just work.
Yeah,
right?
And it just doesn't sometimes.
No,
but
I know. You know,
it's the world we live in, man. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't. But you know,
yeah.
And if we don't get him on tonight, we will have him on because if anybody out there has not heard, he now has the second state record in the books, and he shot an absolute giant, beautiful elk. 383 new state record, typical elk, and pretty awesome. And Early's a great dude, hardcore fisherman, hardcore hunter. So if we can't get him on tonight, we will definitely, we got a guest for next week already, but if we can't get him on tonight, we will get him on soon afterwards. But I mean, dude, first ice.
Yeah.
First ice is here.
Ice. Yep.
And show season's slowly wrapping up. I know neither one of us made the St. Paul Ice Show. Kind of, maybe a little intentionally. We didn't figure with how bad the season was last year that there would be much to see. So
yeah, that's kind of how I felt. You know, I don't want to poo-poo on Sioux Falls or anything of that nature because it was a good show. But the shows aren't what they used to be. And this year there were a lot of really cool people there. That little goofball, the term of endearment I have for him is doofus. Is it Jaron Clinch? Buddy Jaron?
Yep.
Buddy Jaron? You know, I would have been fun to meet him. Jay Siemens was there. Would have been fun to see some of the old regulars like Brian Brosdahl and those guys. It would have been great. You know, but nope. Maybe next year. And I'm kind of thinking maybe it's an every other year thing for me.
Yeah. Well, and the thing what people don't realize, you know, obviously everybody knows last year's ice season was tough. You know, the lack thereof ice season. But what people don't realize is the year before was kind of tough as well. The ice came on pretty good in the beginning, and then we got a ton of snow. Across the ice belt. So it really kind of dampened the ice season out there. So, but ice season is here this year. If the Mother Nature could figure out her bipolar ways and realize if it's winter or if it's going to be summer again, because last weekend's 50-degree weather snap was wonderful, but I want either to get warm or get cold and stay one. You know, I can't get acclimated. And yes, cold. Yeah. Cold would be preferable.
It's winter. It's time to be cold. Yeah, I agree with you. Now speaking of winter and all, you notice my tree.
Oh yeah,
you notice I've got the Between Hook Sets colored bulbs.
I just noticed as you were pointing that out, you put some bulbs on there.
Yep, I did that intentionally last week. I thought, you know, I'm going to leave it and each week add something to the tree before we get to Christmas. That was, you know.
We might have to do a Christmas giveaway or something on your tree if somebody can notice something on there. We might have to play with that a little bit, but you know,
it's ice season, long ways away, but
ice season's upon us. We've already had a couple posts from across the country of people driving on the ice. I saw one. Do you see that video of that guy driving that small SUV dropping through up in Wisconsin? Like, guys, be safe out there. I saw your post last week about you falling through a couple years ago because another guy fell through, you know, had good ice and he went across the heave and fell through. So no ice is safe ice, you know, just be careful. And you ice fish long enough, you'll probably go through at some point, you know, so be careful out there. And
you know, if you're, you know, dealing with the entire season, if you're just going to go out in the middle of winter, you know, chances are you're probably not going to run into that because you're going to be on 16 plus inches of ice and that's all well and good. But when you're doing the early to late it's a whole different story. And speaking of late, let me pop this up quick. This really bummed me out. I've not seen snows and blues this close in a long time. I'm guessing because these things were 50 yards from us, they weren't flying. So
Bird flu.
Yep.
Yeah,
They
there's
weren't.
still, I mean, a couple years ago that bird flu went through really bad. We got it in the springtime on the honkers out here, and it was the craziest thing in the world. You'd see them just flying in circles as fast as they could fly in a circle. It looked like they were in a blender.
Yep.
And they would flip upside down, fall out of the sky.
Yeah, just sad.
And, you know, Game Fish and Park said, don't touch them. If you're going to touch them, wear gloves and throw them away. You know, get rid of them. So I think their study's saying it can't transfer to humans, but it's not worth risking.
At this point, I think anything possibly can, because we're in a different world these days. You know, who knows?
Yeah, Fauci will get a hold of it and morph it.
Let me just do this here real quick, because I popped that thing on Facebook, and maybe some people are wanting to hear from Austin a little bit. I'm going to put him on speakerphone on here. And
We're going to phone him in
real quick.
We're going to phone a friend in, and then we'll have to get him on later date. And
that's fine. Austin, are you there? I am. All right. So I just got you on the speakerphone on the podcast here, because I just, as long as we've got you and got people's attention, we'll have you on again, and we'll make sure that everything works. So I'm popping up a picture right now of you and this massive elk. Congratulations, by the way. What a beauty, and a state record.
Yeah. Brian or Chasen, you might have to plug him into your board, because I can't hear him.
You can't hear him at all.
No. Well, you had to plug him. You had to plug into the board last time. Remember?
Yep. I thought maybe you'd be able to catch him on the speakerphone into the microphone here, but maybe it's not loud enough. So you know what, Austin, I'll just let you go, because I think last time there was another issue there too, where Ron could hardly hear Kurt. So we'll get it figured out, and we'll get you on the show. We just wanted to get you on and say, hey, congratulations. Thanks for trying to hook up here. But we'll show some pictures of your elk again here. And then, of course, your state record deer. So, Austin, congratulations to you. I'll let you go, and we'll chat again later. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Yeah. I thought maybe you'd be able to hear because we do that at the radio station. All I do is put the speakerphone right up to the... I
could hear him very faintly, but it wasn't. Yep. It wouldn't have made a good show. So I don't know if tonight's going to make a good show, but we can talk about what's coming up. So obviously completely drew a blank. The schedule is out for the fishing crew.
Yeah, right. Except 24 hours of ice. Where are you at with that?
I need to probably pull a trigger on it here soon, but last year I had that out there and had a bunch of people signed up, and I hate canceling it, but I'll say we'll do it. Let's figure out a weekend.
You're going to make an executive decision.
Yeah,
and just
say, you forced me into it, so I'm blaming you. That means you have to be there. So,
okay. When are you going to do that? In September?
Yeah, September. No, we got big things coming in September, but no, big change for the 25 season is Cedar Shores is now a 2-day event. There's no day 2 option. There's no 1 day. It's a straight up 2-day event. So we're working on a few more details to add the fall brawl that we did this year into the series, and then have the team of the year be a 4-event series. So trying to work out dates on that final one with the sponsors and stuff like that to make it all work. They want to go into October. I really want to do it that like 20 something of August, the weekend before Memorial Day weekend. Do that, and then get that one there, because that was a lot of fun, and we'll keep that the same structure, 3-man event. And Stockman's Livestock's Fall Brawl will be probably a bigger, badder thing every year, and that was a fun event. So we'll try to get that one going. But yeah, Fishing Crew is going to be hot. Registration comes open as soon as that ball drops on New Year's Eve, and I don't, if I'm going to tell you right now, don't sleep on signing up for any event, especially the Governor's Cup. Last year, it was 9 days with 200 teams. Got a feeling it's going to be faster. if we get too fast, we're going to look at, what we can do to, I don't like to guarantee spots, but I also don't like to lose some of the big names or big names or sentimental names that have been part of the Gov Cup longer than I ran it. So we don't want to really get down that road of losing some of those bigger names out there, but yeah, it's going to be a fun 25 season. Trying to work on some more sponsor stuff, get some stuff done like that. It could be a good year. It's going to be a good year. It's not could be. It's going to be a good year. We got some fun stuff coming with the media side of what we're going to be doing. Get a few more things that we're going to do there and try to get people a little more exposure. And it's just going to be. I don't know. I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, where's your head at? Are you thinking ice fishing?
Right now, I'm thinking ice fishing, which is fine, but my head is still kind of. I guess I'm cranked on the whole April thing. We've got a busy April coming up with the Cedar Shore and then Lake Sharp showdown, and doing some things different there, doing things differently like we might do for something else. So, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that whole thing, and work on those connectivity issues that people kind of complain about. You get your keyboard warriors that bitch, and I get it. I understand that. When things are goofy, and so I'm looking at that stuff. You're looking at other stuff. So hopefully we're taking care of that. Live leaderboards and stuff that people can see, and all those little things that sometimes we think, does it really matter? But then you have a bunch of people that will be, they're always the negative Nellies on there. Can't get into your this, can't get into that. Okay, well, we're going to take care of that and really dumb it down and make it simple. So luckily we've got a winter here to figure that out, and I hope people are surprised. I hope they're very happy with the fact that they're not going to have to look around for stuff. It'll be there, multiple camera views, different things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a TV producer, but I stayed at a
Holiday
American Express. No. I stayed at
the American Inn for Pier last night.
I stayed at the American Inn. Yeah, right. And so, right. Yeah, you got to do the sponsor thing there if you can at all make it.
It's okay. I'm a limo driver.
American Inn Express, but
it's an okay. I'm a limo driver.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm pumped. We'll see where it goes. And we're working on some other things. It's going to be kind of interesting. You got Seth Fighter, who signed up now with Vexus.
Big news there. John Cox over to Vexus.
Yep. So, could somebody, George, talk Seth Fighter into fishing the Governor's Bass Cup? Could those kind of things happen? And then you've got the National Walleye Tour, who is a week prior to the
no piggybacking.
That's right. It's
they will be Thursday, Friday. Yeah. We will be Saturday, Sunday.
That's right. So it's right tight. So is that going to bring more of the National Walleye Tour guys into the event? We'll I guess we'll see, right?
Yeah, we should see. It's gonna be a busy week. It's gonna be a busy week in Pier. A lot of stuff going on. I know I've been talking with Vexus and Downstream Marine, the Vexus dealer in Pier, about having some stuff go on the week of that. So really looking forward to that. And I mean, I just can't wait. I mean, this time of year, I was telling you earlier, I kind of get we go, and I kind of get a little slump, and then, it's time to, New Year's is going to be here in no time, and then we're going to be seeing everybody in the open water in Chamberlain. We moved the Chamberlain event to the second weekend of April. We dodged a bullet last year, the year before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people know we were chainsawing ice down there in the bay to get it open. So we moved to the second weekend. Hopefully we don't have a hard winter. They got all the new docks done. So hopefully we can get through there and have a lot better setup. Looking forward to that. And Yeah, Pike Masters. We're still working on dates on Pike Masters. Easter's really throwing a wrench in the mix in April.
Yeah, that
So
does mess things up a bit.
it's really kind of throwing a wrench there, but it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of fun, exciting things. The aspect of what you're bringing to the table and I mean the whole crew, but
The whole crew, Zach and everybody. Yeah, right. Nate, everybody.
Nate, everybody. Hopefully going to be debuting something very big for the fishing crew coming.
Boy, I hope so sooner than later. Because
no. That one's coming too. So two big things, but
too big. Okay,
we're working with Team Lodge on designing a brand new stage trailer.
Right.
So that's going to be a big improvement for the fishing crew coming up. We don't have to set up docks and get a lot nicer setup. And yeah, I am so jacked on the seasons to come. And I got to thank every single angler, wife, family member that's encouraged them guys to be out there for supporting us. And, it's really, really blown up. This will be year 17 for me. Yeah. And, they always say in business, if you can make it 5 years, you made it. Well, we made it 5 years, hit a slump. And I think we're, I hope we don't see slump spot anymore, but you never know, you never know what comes. And I think it's going to be a great, great future for the fishing crew. And I think we're building the right team and the right sponsors. And I mean, I can't thank all them sponsors enough, American Shields, Vexus Boats, Team Lodge. I mean, geez, Tanner and the crew over there has just unbelievably helped us out. I mean, just incredibly for the last couple of years. DeVille Wagner Real Estate got some great things coming up with that crew. Mega Lithium, Zach has just been a godsend, not only in sponsors with this battery company, but just being at every event and helping us. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for what the future is going to hold. So Precision Fishing, man, I can't forget about Trent. Trent has been probably my longest sponsor. He literally, anything I need, that man is there to help us, and just great. And I could go for 10, the Outpost Lodge. Brandon and the crew at the Outpost Lodge has just, from housing to food to hosting events, everything Brandon does there is that fall brawl. If you guys missed it last year, Stockman Livestock Fall Brawl. I mean, they literally, Greg Reichen and the crew, they rolled out the red carpet. $5,000 out of money from First National Bank in Sioux Falls. Steaks. I'm going to mess up that name of the company that donated all the steaks. We had shirts for everybody, $450 entry fee, 3-man teams. Everybody walked away with a steak, $5,000 added cash, shirt. Greg had shirts made. It was one of the coolest. It was so much fun. And looking forward to adding that. And, just everything has just got me excited for 2025.
Yeah, I'm excited to start 2025 down in Fort Worth, though.
Yeah, we got the Classic ahead of us. We're going to start 2025 in Wisconsin.
Right.
Some good news, big news there. We're teaming up. The fishing crew is going to be teaming up with the NPAA. If you don't know, the NPAA is the National Professional Angler Association. You're going to hear all about it next week. We're getting some stuff worked out. There's going to be a code for all the anglers that want to sign up for the NPAA. We're going to get all the details next week. We'll give you that code next week. Get that all going and sign up for the NPAA because it's a great organization. I learned a lot of stuff talking to the new incoming president. We're going to learn more next week about what they all have to offer, so I won't get too far in the weeds there. But we start there. Go to the NPAA conference in January. Wisconsin Dells, and then to Fort Worth, Texas, man, the Bass Master Classic. And I'm telling everybody that's watching and anybody out there, if you like bullhead fishing,
right?
I don't care if you give a damn about bass fishing. If you are a fisherman, and like shore fishing, bullheads, I don't care, or a diehard tournament angler, put that on your list of places to go.
Yep, it was cool last year.
Yeah,
it was really cool. Get some friends together and drive down there. It's not that big a deal. You know,
I mean,
when
it
you
was
got a guy like
honestly
Nate that can do most of the driving, it's easy.
The Super Bowl meets a Kid Rock concert.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it was literally like going to that. The energy when, I mean, Sherry, my wife, was laughing at me when we got there and how that stadium last year was set up. You walk in the front doors and you can walk straight and you're at the highest level of the auditorium. And I walked out there and nothing was going on yet. People were getting in their seats. And I was just like a little kid in a candy store going, someday we hope to bring this to walleye fishing. 30,000 people watching weigh-ins. I mean, lights and videos and people driving around the arena throwing stuff. And what a cool, awesome event.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and maybe we're going to make that work in the walleye world. Who knows? You know, got a lot of work to do, but we're talking about it. You know, trying to make it work and make things happen. What do we have here? Can't wait to get back out on open water and pier in Lake Hawaii. Oh my!
We got him.
Oh, are you kidding me?
We got him.
You know,
hey, you got me rambling, man.
You go over and use the neighbor's Wi-Fi?
Can you hear us?
Well, you know, we can see him, but we can't.
I don't know if we have audio.
I don't think we have audio.
Can you unmute yourself? Let me see.
No, he's not muted.
We don't have any audio from you, Early. Other than that,
no audio, but we sure got the video.
He's been working, man. Early's. It's just, hey, good thing we got all these new graphs. Early can start figuring out technologies.
Yep, right.
We're gonna pop him. Oh, you got your mic muted. You got to unmute your mic, Austin. Click the mic button to unmute it.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now
I did. I went back.
Boom.
There we go.
Boom. There you are.
We got him. So look at
that. Look at that.
I mean, look at all those deer in the background, but that is so. Let's start there, Austin, since we got you on now. That's a 2013. You shot that in 2013, right? Or wasn't that, or 2015?
15.
That the state record deer was 2015.
Okay, so
2015 was the state record deer.
So that one is, I mean, and that state record bow buck. What did that come in for a score? I can't.
Well, he was actually the official score. The official score is 242.
242.
But
okay.
It's 241.08 is what's in the books right now. This deer actually, when I harvested him, and I was going to do a full body mount on him, I basically did all the skinning myself, and I was down to the last couple cuts up on the head that evening, and it slipped out of my hand, and one of the tines hit the concrete and went flying across the shop. So a tine broken, and I can't remember exactly how it is. Actually, this deer did change the rules between Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young. I believe Pope and Young was, if a tine is broken and you have all the proof of it, then they'll panel judge it and they'll accept it. Boone and Crockett, I believe, has always been a broken tine is gone, a broken tine is gone. But this deer, just having all the video and the pictures before that tine broke, and then going through that process, Boone and Crockett actually changed their rulings now to where if you have enough evidence that they'll allow it. So it did come back at 242, but in the books it's 241.08.
That's cool.
I mean, awesome. How mad were you when that? I mean, I know Early pretty damn well, but there had to be some.
Oh, there was a lot of things getting thrown around, hitting shop walls for quite a while. So
you just made you made a 33 pointer into a 32 pointer just like that, right?
32 and a half. Yeah. time, I didn't think I could afford to lose an inch, but I was okay losing an inch, I guess.
Yeah.
So, guys are, I explain to guys, like, I spent over the last 15, 16 years of knowing you, Austin, like, you're a diehard fisherman, but when it comes to big game hunting, like, that is your absolute jam. And you kind of just like I don't even talk to you in the fall because you are just gone into the headlights after these things. I mean, you put in hours and hours of work to get these big animals.
Yeah, I do this. The big whitetail, that was 9.5 months of my life from the time I found him to the time I was lucky enough to harvest him. That's all I did was that whitetail. Eat, breathe, and sleep. That whitetail was all I did. So I put in a lot of time, a lot of work getting after that whitetail. It wasn't like this elk. This elk was a little bit more luck in this elk. It was the good Lord above had a lot to do with this elk for me.
But I mean, I remember talking to you, and you were supposed to fish the fall brawl, and you're like, I got an elk tag, dude. I'm not fishing. I don't care. I've got my prairie elk tag, and I'm going after it.
Yep, and that's exactly right. I drew that tag, and it took me 24 years to draw that tag. And I've been extremely lucky throughout my life drawing tags here in South Dakota. I've gotten most of our draw tags, the elk, and now I've gotten a bighorn sheep. So I've only got 2 tags left to get through the drawing actually, and I'll have basically run the gamut on the system. Besides for the billy goat, but that one keeps coming and going.
Yeah, so, that one hasn't been up for a while. So
well, it was, and they just took it away again here last year, the year before they took the billy goat away again. So I'm not real sure what's going on with that one again. Now they must be going downhill a little bit. But I still have my archery elk in the hills, which I've got 16 years preference on that. So hopefully, maybe next 5 years, maybe see that one. And I've got a fighting chance in the Custer State Park. I'm sitting with 30 years preference on the Custer State Park rifle. Those will be my last 2 tags to draw. So hopefully someday I'll get them both. We'll see. A
lot of guys haven't even drawn one, and you've got. I mean, I think the good Lord shines down on you just getting the tags. I mean, there's guys that haven't gotten one, but I got to bring this up. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and you must like the 0/8 records because 241 and 0/8 and 330 or 383 and 0/8. Like, you must love the 0/8. Like,
well, he liked it so damn much he broke a tine off to get there.
That's right. That's right. It's something about the 0/8s. It really gets it a little bit more about there.
Austin, Kurt said that you had a dentist appointment and that maybe you're going to be swollen up, and you're doing pretty good. I was going to come in and I was going to make you feel better. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. We'll get you on the podcast and make an offer you can't refuse. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I like about you, Brian. You're always there for the guy.
Hey,
I was worried about it for a little bit, but about a half an hour ago, I could finally smile again, and the numbness wore off. So I'm in pretty good shape because being a little late figuring out my phone getting on the show tonight.
But you
figured it out on your own there, so that I'm going to hand it to you there, give you a pat on the back for that. Let me bring this up because I was talking to Louie earlier too about having you on, and he said, "Oh, he's got that ram." So tell us the story. The ram was. Do you blame yourself for that one? You probably had a state record there too, from what I understand, right?
Yes, the ram. Actually, I can. Maybe show the ram.
Oh my!
Where are you going to put the full body elk?
Yeah, no kidding.
And a wolf.
The elk. It probably would have been a problem had I known exactly what I was dealing with that elk.
You just got to cut a hole in the ceiling. You'll be fine.
Yeah, when I had taken that elk, I knew I took one heck of an elk. I just didn't really, I guess, understand how good of an elk I took. The mass on that elk really threw me off. But yeah, back to the sheep. Back to the sheep. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so how tall are you? I know you're on your knees here, but so, how that is that 6 feet off the ground from his nose to the top of that rack? I mean, is that 6 feet off the ground there?
I guess I haven't really looked into that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done that much. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Oh
yeah, so there we go.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that thing's big. Yeah, you're not you're going to hang that low on the wall. That's the way that one's going to be. And you don't get a choice.
I'm going to have to. Yeah, or I'm going to have to cut some peeling out, I guess.
A full body mount of it bedded up. There we go. Full body mount bedded up.
I thought about that too. Had I known exactly what I had, I would have full body mounted it, I guess, and worried about what the heck I was going to do with it after that. But I'll still do the shoulder mount, and we still might maybe inquire a little bit, maybe about doing a full body mount. I guess the only thing I don't like about that, this bull was just absolute massive in the body too, and I don't think I'll ever be able to find another cape that's that big. So, but that's part of it that's gone. So just got to live with what you got.
So you didn't even realize what you had shot on this elk until later on? Like, I mean,
yeah, no, I did not. It was a long story. It actually happened pretty quick. I'd gotten the tag once I found out I drew the tag. I'd called a real good buddy of mine, Bob Stalley, in Pierce, South Dakota, and me and him have done a lot of hunting together and coyote hunting and tournaments, and he knows a lot of the good ranchers, big ranchers out west. So I was lucky to have his connections for that too. And we got a hold of a big rancher, and I had basically a 30,000 acre ranch that I was supposed to be going to. There's a little bit of confusion in that, I think, between the son that Bob and I were talking to and the son's father. I guess. Long story short, another guy ended up out there before me, and which was completely fine. Beautiful ranch, great ranch, plenty of elk. But I'd missed the first weekend. Just talking with the fella that I was going out there. I guess the first weekend they were super dry out in that country. Our elk rut always normally starts in South Dakota the 16th of September across the state. And they were super dry out there, and they didn't really want anyone out there until they got a little bit of relief, some cooler weather, some water. And it was only 4 or 5 days, and they did get some rain, so that was a good relief for him. But then he was busy with some family stuff, so he wasn't going to be around then either. So I basically missed out the first weekend of rut, the first whole week, and now I was going to miss out on the second weekend of rut. And I went to work that Monday morning, and I was just going bonkers because I knew I needed to be out listening to elk bugling and watching them fight rather than being at work. So I dropped everything at work that Monday morning, and I just headed west. I picked out a couple ranches that were by that big ranch that I was going to be on, and just started knocking on some doors. And the first, they were just all great ranchers out there. The first gentleman, he'd give me permission. Him and a friend had cow tags. They were going to go get their cows, and then he'd let me come into the ranch. And I went to the next gentleman, and we talked for a while. And the guy that was supposed to be coming out, but he hadn't heard from him at all and hadn't seen him, so he told me to go ahead. And heck, that was, I suppose, 3:30, 4 o'clock that afternoon. And I'd left that morning, and he'd pointed up to a gravel pit that he had, and he said, "You can go start up there," he said. And he said the neighbor took a good bull a couple days before on the other side of the cornfield. So I got up there, and I started hiking around the cornfield, and just looking for the right points to basically start glassing off of. And I found the right point to glass back to the other side of the canyon. And I sat down, and I started sweeping with my spot and scope. I caught a small raghorn and some cows, and by the time I'd done basically sweeping my spot and scope the first time, I was looking at this bull that I shot just like that. I mean, within 5 minutes of sitting down, I was looking at this this bull that I harvested. It was unreal. And there was a couple other bulls there that I was looking at. I didn't get to see too long, but this, the one that I was able to harvest really stuck out. And I was zooming in and out on him and in and out on him. And you could just see every time, just visible as all heck. And I looked on Onyx to see how far away I was. Well, I was 2.25 miles away from him yet. So that just told me even more that he was probably a little bigger than what I was even thinking. And so it was getting close to sundown, and I just decided to back out. And the most of the elk were on the other side of the canyon, so I had a good spot to go start in the morning. And I'd called my buddy Bobby Stalley again out in Pier, and his son George has never heard an elk bugle before. So, and he'd asked me if they're bugling, and I said, yeah, they were bugling. I couldn't hear them, but I could see them bugling in my spotting scope. All the few bulls that I was watching over there, that's all they were doing was bugling each other. And so he took his boy out of school the next morning, and they met me out there real quick, and we got up there, and we were just a couple minutes too late. This big bull and his cows, they tucked into the timber some. And there's not a whole lot of timber there. It's not like the hills, the different West River ravines full of timber. So it makes it a little easier hunting them, but at the same time, a little harder. If you screw something up, they're going to get out of there real quick, and they're going to go to the neighbor's place, and that's the end of your hunt. I guess he was in there bugling, and he wanted me to call him out, and I wanted to too, just because George and they were there. It just would have been a good hunt with one of my best friends and his son. But I thought about it a second, and I just decided not to call him out. We just the better option was just to let him be. He wasn't going to leave that ravine that he was in, and I knew he would follow the cows out the end of that ravine come evening and head up to the cornfield again. So it was pretty easy choice at that time. So we just backed out, and they had to go back town, and I waited till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I circled way around on the flat to come in on him a different way, just to wait for him to start coming out of these canyons. And I went through the flat and just got to the base of the hills and seen something shining in the trees, and threw my glasses up, and heck, there he was. I could see the top 3 tines of his there in the trees, just raking the trees. And he was 300 yards away, I suppose. And I had about 75 yards to crawl, belly crawl up to a little knoll. And if I could make it to that knoll, then I'd have a wide open view of him and his cows in the little meadow that they were in at the time. And I did that, and I just made it up and put the gun up over the little point, and I picked my head up over the point, and I just seen 3 cows going down into the hardwoods. And so I figured that they'd just gone in and I'd missed him. And all of a sudden another cow come out from the other side of the meadow. I suppose the meadow was probably 50 yards wide, I suppose. And so when that other cow come out, I knew that he was still on the right side in there gathering up cows. So I hurry up and got ready, and I put my scope on the cow that was coming through the clearing, and the sun was just directly in my eyes, directly in the scope. So it was good that I had one cow to look at. I was able to adjust my scope enough to where I could see him in the sun. And then after that cow jumped in, and then he was the last one. He come across that clearing, and I was right on him 200 yards. I basically just followed him and waiting for him to stop. And he did. He finally stopped right before the edge of the hardwoods, and I started squeezing the trigger. Well, that trigger won't ever go off if you don't take the dang safety off. So down in the woods, down in the woods he goes. So I got after chewing my butt pretty good for that. And I backed out, got in the next ravine, and ran halfway up and back over the saddle and sat down quick. And he bugled again. Well, he had already made it by me again. So I had to back out and run up the next ravine all the way to the top and come back over the saddle. And I sat down again. And there happened to be just a small clearing 200 yards in front of me. And then the end of the trees would have been 350, 400. So I had him either way he was coming out, whether or not I'd be able to get him, but I would have a decent shot at him. So I was sitting there waiting a little bit, and I knew they were still down below me. And all of a sudden there was a Jeep that come driving at the top of the hill right above these elk. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on here? And the Jeep just kept on bebopping by, and he never stopped. And those elk, they just stayed. They were 100 yards below this Jeep going across the hill. And the Jeep and those elk stayed there. And I wiped the sweat off of my brows, thinking that he was going to run them off the country. And he didn't. And So he left, and those elk, and it was getting close. Now the sun was down. I still had probably 20 minutes of shooting time, 25 minutes shooting time. The sun had just gone down. And I'd seen a cow come out in the clearing that was 200 yards in front of me, and I got on her, and he actually was right behind her. Well, and I never have, I guess, able to look at the whole bull close enough to really see what he was. I mean, I knew I was dealing with a really big bull. I just didn't know exactly what he was. So I guess the second time I was busy watching his horns when I should have been busy pulling the trigger again, and I didn't. So he went back in the trees, and I chewed my own butt again, and then waited and waited for him to come around, and he finally come out again, and I knew that was enough messing around. He was a good enough bull to be hunting. So he come out at 300 yards, and we ended the night there. So it was,
Boom. But so okay, so thank God, because I thought you were going to tell us you watched the Vikings game first and then decided to go back out and shoot it.
no, not quite that bad, but should have maybe had my head examined the second time though.
I mean, there was buck fever, and I mean, you like you said, you hadn't seen it that close to get a full example, and you're like, I mean, seeing that come out, I'd be mesmerized by that too. Like, Jesus, what do I don't even know how I'm going to pull it. Like, I don't know. I'd have been shaking behind you if I was with you, let alone, and I probably would have been staring at the rack, not even looking at the body like you. So that's, I get it.
Yeah. Well, and this is, and I knew that drawing the prairie tag, anymore in South Dakota, of course, our Black Hills is full of magnificent elk out there. But our prairie has really stepped up over the years here. We have some giant bulls on our prairies. And I knew this would be my last opportunity in my lifetime to really go after a real big bull. So I had 3 weeks to a month basically prepared to do nothing but elk hunt and look for the biggest bull I could, which was sitting right in front of me. As soon as I got out there, I wasn't completely sure about it. So yeah, I kind of passed him up the second time, wondering if I needed to go look for something bigger. But when he come out the third time, I figured I better quit screwing around and just take the elk that was in front of me. And lo and behold, it just ended up being a lot bigger than I even thought he was.
That's, you know what, that's a great story, because you were swinging for the fence on a full count.
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
I mean that's no other way to put it. Whatever,
Yep.
a little bull fever that you got the safety on, and then you finally do it. Jason Voss brought up a good question, or made a good statement here about the baby face, because it's been a damn long time since I've seen you without fuzz on your face. And so folks, this is what Austin generally looks like on any given day, but tonight he's looking like that, and I'm sure it's because you had a dentist appointment, right?
I did 6 inches off the chin, so it wouldn't be in the dentist way today. So I'll leave like this for Christmas, and then we'll start over.
There you go.
But by Cedar Shore, he'll be full beard, and you won't even know who he is again. But I mean, and so obviously, look around your house. You got a lot of big deer, and you knew your bow buck was going to be something very, very special. I mean, you watched that for quite a few years, and you watch it grow up, and you have sheds from it. You get out there to elk when you don't see them all the time. Like, how do you you had no idea that you could even be clipping the record books with this thing?
No, I did not. Really, and us South Dakota guys, most of us don't do a lot of elk hunting or get to do a lot of elk hunting, so we don't learn how to judge these elk like we would our mule deer or whitetail deer. Most of us South Dakota guys can judge a deer from a quarter mile away and be pretty close to what he might be. I've just never really taken the time to look into and study the elk. I guess I just know you always look for big, wide, tall, everything. And I just, the mass really escaped me on this one. So it's that was the biggest thing with this one was just the mass on this one. It was just unbelievable.
So you get the thing harvested. When do you realize, like, holy crap, I shot something spectacular?
Well, I had to argue with a couple guys about that too. I had got him, and I got him loaded up, and I come back to Pier or whatever, and of course my first stop was one of my best buddies, Bob Stalley again, and went to his taxidermy studio, and it was a giant elk. He was, I just had him in the back end of a 1/2-ton pickup, so his whole horns I had to ratchet strap in 4 or 5 places just to keep his head in the truck without flopping out, dragging off.
And all he's thinking is, "Don't break again! Don't break this one!"
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But I stopped at Bob's, and Bob threw a tape on he threw a tape on one horn, and he just doubled the other horn and gave him a spread, and he said 390, and I said, there ain't no way in heck this is 390-inch bull, Bob. It just can't be. Well, another buddy here in Brookings, Sean Lesner, he drew our raffle tag, our South Dakota raffle tag the year before, so he'd gotten an elk, deer, and antelope all in the same year. But he'd headed up to Harding to go look for a big bull up there. And as most of us know, most of the big gross total bulls are up in Harding. But he'd come out of Harding with a 399 and some change. So he come out of there with just a giant bull, and he'd sent me pictures, and that's kind of the bull that I was looking at, pictures or whatever going into this hunt, and some others. And of course, you shouldn't do that because pictures are always deceiving. Now that he's got his elk back, it's just a huge elk. But the pictures made it look like it had a lot more mass than what he had, than what it actually has on him. And that's why I was really telling myself that my elk wasn't that big, because I just looking at his pictures of a 399, I just 390 bull. So I'd gotten back to town, and another fella and I were talking on the phone, and he says, well, let's measure it right now. And so I measured it, and he wrote down the numbers as I was measuring it. And I come up with 393. And I told him, there's still no way this is 390-inch bull. We're doing something wrong here. I just couldn't accept it, and I couldn't believe it. And so I went and talked to another friend that really knows what he's doing measuring animals. And he put a tape on it, and he come up with basically the same thing I did, 393 and 2/8 or something like that. I think the first time he did it. And so I was finally satisfied that with the score it was. I just wasn't believing it was that big as it was, and I wasn't taking that mass into consideration. And that the guys that knew more about elk were saying, yeah, that mass is just huge, and that's where it really pushed you up there was with the mass on that thing. So
yeah. So when we talk numbers, yours was that's archery, right? Or no, you used.
Yeah, the elk was rifle.
Elk was rifle. Okay.
But that's a state record typical buck.
Typical, right?
Yes.
So the non-typical is it 440 or 404?
411.
411. Okay.
Yep. We have 2 listings in our South Dakota Boone and Crockett books for non-typical elk. Is that 411 and 408 is the 2 listings we have for our non-typicals. And we have 12 listings for our typical bulls, in our South Dakota Boone and Crockett. And Larry Miller back in 1980 had the record at 377. So I guess that bull stood for 45 years, dang near.
So with that, is it all of the state or is that prairie? But
no,
that's Black Hills Fire District. That's everything.
Yeah. Those open young, they don't divide anything out. It's a state by state.
Man, it's truly amazing. I mean, you've got a state record whitetail, you got a state record elk, you probably have a state record ram sitting there.
Let's get back to this ram, because I heard this story the other day when I called you up and said, are we just going to change the record book to Austin Earley? And when are you going to start catching fish to get in that book?
I'm going to have to slow down on the hunting and try and remember how to do a little more fishing to get back into that thing. But no, the ram was something really special. I just, actually that ram, the third elk. I don't know where we're at here.
Canyon.
Another elk. It's only a 250, 260 elk. In 2010, me and my hunting partner Jared Cruz, we drew our first elk tags in the hills there, just out of the park, just regular Black Hills firearm. And in the same year we drew those elk tags. We had 14 years preference. We drew those, and I drew this ram tag with 4 years preference. So that was the beginning of that, and of course I had the ram tag, so that's all I cared about was that ram. I didn't have any into the elk or anything like that. The sheep. Oh heck, I think I sheep hunted for, what was it, 63 or 64 days. And then 60 or 64 days I hunted. I seen 52 different rams, I guess, in the 2 months that I was hunting out there. And I was ram, a 180-inch ram was a Boone Crockett ram. And
there we lost him.
I was wondering because he was cutting out on my end, but he'll hop back on here hopefully.
Yeah, I'm glad that he finally got things working and we had a chance to talk to him tonight, because tonight ended up being great. We got a great story from him.
What an incredible, I mean, that elk story. Wow. Yeah. Like I never heard that part of the story. Like I just knew he shot it, and and he is a state record. And I looked today, like Wyoming state record is like only 404 or something like that. So I was like, there we go. Must have got a phone call.
No, it just went out.
Yeah. So you hunted 64 or 65 days on your ram.
Yeah. And I was looking for a 180, and I took it right to the end of the season. And I out of the 54, 56 rams that I seen, basically there was only 2 with their lamb tips, and that's not the ones you really look for when you're sheep hunting. They'll broom off their lamb tips and they'll get thicker at the end. Well, a sheep is all about its mass from its tips to its bases. But I like the way they looked with their lamb tips on them. And I just couldn't find a 180, and I only had, I think, 4 days left to basically sheep hunt. And there was a couple more that would have scored more than the one I harvested. But like I said, I really like the looks of him with the lamb tips. He was sitting up in the horizon, and he had his head back, and the tips were up in the clouds, and it was just a beautiful ram to look at. So yeah, I ended up going after him, and I got him. And he was a 168-inch ram, so yeah, a nice ram, but on the smaller side when you're talking bighorn sheep. And I was just tickled pink with that. And we come home, and I never looked into that record, just because I figured it was so much higher. I just never even bothered looking into that. And heck, it was 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years later, I was talking to a fella about it, and I told him that, and he says, well, heck, you'd have the state record ram then. The state record Pope and Young ram is only 162 or 163 at the time. So I would have had him by a little bit, and of course with the sheep, I can't remember the gentleman's name, come along and beat the world record out of our Badlands.
Yeah.
And I think there was a few other real good sheep that were taken out of the Badlands a year or two after that guy, and I'm sure a few of them were probably used with bow. I guess I didn't check that for sure, but I can only imagine that there's probably 2 or 3 of them that were bigger than this one with the bow that's on there. So I just never went back to I guess look into entering it. I was too late, so I don't feel like it should. I don't feel like it's proper.
Yeah.
To go back and read it. So I just left things alone.
Well, and you know what you have. You know what you got,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's fine. And he's locking up a little bit. I was going to ask him. Let's see if he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, I got a question for him. I hope he comes back, because I got a good question for him when he gets back in. Because
I do too. I want to know when he panned across with the cell phone, was that a coyote, a wolf, or a German Shepherd mounted there?
I think it was a wolf.
Okay, that's what I thought too. But I'm like, everything was pixelated, and I wasn't quite sure. There was a picture on the internet today on Facebook that showed a coyote and a wolf staring down the same food on ice or snow or something of that nature. And it talked about, well, if there are coyotes around, there aren't any wolves. If there are wolves, there aren't coyotes, and here they are together. But it really goes to show you how massive wolves are. Coyotes aren't tiny, they're fairly decent size, but then, you look at a wolf and it's amazing.
Yeah, they're the thing about like coyotes, I mean, they're gonna, we got speaking coyotes, we have a Randy Rohde tournament this weekend. So if you're interested, go to the Predator Hunters Association's website, Randy Rohde tournament this weekend. So make sure you get signed up for that. I think we're going to be clipping 30 teams in that deal. So make sure you get in on that because that's going to be a fun weekend. But, wolves, man, they kill for fun.
Yeah,
they kill for fun. And that is just
that's a spooky deal.
I mean, they just kill to kill where, a lot of the other predators, they don't kill to kill. Coyotes don't, cats don't.
Yeah,
but
they kill to eat.
These guys think just kill to kill, and that's just not a good deal for, our ecosystem, and there's people out there that think, oh, wolves are great. And
right.
No. So excuse me. Yeah, I think I was talking to somebody the other day, and since Biden got in, like, you can't kill a wolf in the country, I believe, right now. So hopefully in January that goes back and we can take care of some of those things. So they're not a good thing to have in the system.
Years ago, I'd called the GF&P and said, hey, is there a wolf around here in Brookings County? Because I'm finding wolf tracks. Nope, got to be a coyote. Well, okay, coyote tracks are about this big. Wolf tracks are about this big. And I'm like, nah, trust me, it's a wolf. And so we never really did get a sighting of it. We've got lions around here.
There he's back.
There he's back. So, and by the way, that big deer that if you're not from eastern South Dakota or you don't hunt, this deer actually came from home. It was a Brookings County deer. So Austin didn't even have to travel that far to get that one.
No, I could hear the FDSU football game the night that I shot that deer.
Did they win that night or lose?
I don't think he remembers.
I wasn't paying attention. It was still far enough off. I couldn't hear everything, but I could hear some of the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, Kurt, I see Chris is on from Target Walleye and we've got minutes left. I want to talk about Humminbird quick, but you have a question that you wanted to ask.
So Early, like, did you get your interior decorating plans from Cabela's? Like,
no. I'm still working on them. I'm still working on that. I've got a few heads in parts of the houses that I haven't gotten up in here. I'm almost to the point where I got to build a bigger garage.
Yeah, you need taller ceilings.
You pan around them like there's a full body mount deer. Oh, there's a ram. Oh, there's all deer heads. There's a couple little walleyes behind that deer. I'm sure they're not little, but they definitely look little behind that.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
show us the we were talking about wolves. I asked Kurt when you went away. I'm like, is that a coyote, a wolf, or a German Shepherd? Because I couldn't quite tell. It was pretty pixelated.
Yeah, no, that's that wolf. That wolf there.
Nice. Oh, look at that.
That wolf there. I got him in Alaska, actually.
What big teeth you have.
Yeah. That's actually my second wolf. In Minnesota, when Minnesota opened up a season for wolves, we got lucky and drew a couple tags in Minnesota a couple times, and we were successful in calling wolves out of there. And I've got a couple friends up in Alaska that I like going up there, and it's supposed to be a yearly trip, and I haven't been there now since COVID, but it's really fun. The coyotes and wolves up there when I go are just it's unreal. It's something we're seeing.
To see them in person. Yeah, just amazing. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time left because we're bucking an hour here already, but it's been a great night. Don't get me wrong. Humminbird. Got the Omega 2. What was that?
Said, I'm sorry we got cut off in the beginning and it wasn't longer, but
No
we're
problem,
good.
man. I'm glad you worked through the struggles and jumped on because, man, I was looking forward to the story. And, you always hear the story. South Dakota Big Bucks has tons of pictures of this and you see this stuff. But to get the full story of the hunt, like we got the full story of the hunt. We got the real story, as we call it on here. And thanks. I can't thank you enough for sharing that. I mean, that's just incredible. And I know if I ever get lucky enough, I don't care if you're wheelchair bound, I'm pushing you out there to get me my elk.
That's awesome.
I'll go with you guys anytime you want.
I love that.
Anytime.
All right, so the elephant in the room this week has been the new Humminbird, the Mega 2, and the Xplore. And I've read a lot of the comments, a lot of people asking stupid questions. And it just goes to show they don't know what they're doing and they haven't used their unit and don't understand it. That's fine. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to spend the money on this stuff, then freaking use it and quit asking stupid questions. Go out, practice, use it, and get things done. And that's what you got to do. But Austin, where are you at with electronics? Are you? And I'm sorry, I should know your boat. Are you Lowrance, Humminbird?
He's the Garmin guy.
Garmin guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good. I've heard a few people say, well, here, the Humminbird finally has an answer to Garmin, and I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I think the one thing that a lot of people don't know and understand is Garmin is elevated above what the regular average guy like me, if you've got the EcoMap, if you've got the 73, the 93, whatever is 92, if you've got the low dollar unit, you've got live sonar, but you don't have the live sonar that is it the 8616 or something. Tom Wynn has one. And you have the bigger screen where everything it's got the bigger processor. And I think that's where Humminbird's coming with Xplore and the 2.0. I think when we actually see what the screen looks like, a lot of us are going to absolutely drop a jaw because we're used to the slow processing and the graphics. And now Humminbird has elevated themselves beyond the simple. So it makes sense to me. I wasn't going to buy one. I'm going to go buy an Xplore unit. I'm going to get a 9-inch. I have
8610 and 8612, Chris.
There you go. 80 there. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. So the 8610 and 8612. I've not experienced them. I've had a few people tell me what they look like, and I kind of scratch my head. Really? Because they really it's almost like monochromatic TV, from what I understand. So
is that what Austin? What do you run? You run 8610s?
No, I just run the SVs. I just regular.
Okay.
Yeah, the SVs, the 126 is the 106 is what I've been running.
Okay.
Yeah.
The top of the line is going to be your 86 series or whatever. Those are going to be your top of the line for Garmin.
Well, I mean, I suppose you can't afford it with all your taxidermy bills every year, right. So.
Buying boats and then tackle and everything else. The fishing game's gotten pretty expensive over the last 5 years. So.
You paid more in sales tax and stuff than right. That's amazing. That is truly amazing. So anyway, the Humminbird thing, whatever, for those people that are about the Helix deal, just go with the last update and use it. It works fine. You don't need another update. Just use the doggone thing. Yeah. And Lowrance will come along with something else. So, I think people just like to complain. There's nothing to complain about. Humminbird made a move, and they made the right move now. I changed my mind over the last few days because I researched it even more. I see the price points come way down. Originally, they were talking about the lower end, the 9 being a $2,200 unit. I think I saw it for $1,299.99. I'm buying one. Done. So anyway, whether I'll catch more fish with it or not, I have no idea, but I'm going to swing for the fence, and bases are loaded and I don't even have a walk or a swing yet, a strike yet. So I'm good to go. Austin, Darn good to have you. What a great story. I'm glad that you and your baby face came on tonight because I've never seen you like that. And we got a story tonight that we never thought we were going to get. I thought we were going to have to pop up some pictures and kind of tell your story and wait another week or 2 or 3. And nope, we got it tonight. Early Christmas present. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, right. Hey man, I rambled in the beginning about the upcoming season, so fast forward past that to get to the good stuff. But yeah, I mean, thank you, man. I look forward to seeing you. Is there a chance I get to see you this weekend? Are you figured out if you're going to come hunt this weekend at the Randy Rohde contest?
No, we're not. I really wanted to, but I talked to my partner, and we can't get the right ranches. So
Jason Boss says you'll have a full beard by morning.
That's funny.
It might be a couple days. It's probably pretty close.
I love it.
I'm jealous because I had to trim up because I had to do some headshots for the chamber board, but I thought I had to, and I'm like, I start No Shave November in August just so I can look like I got somewhere.
What do you mean? You started that when you were 19? Come on now, tell the truth.
My old man told me, he goes, don't even think about growing a beard till 35. He's a little off. It's going to be about, I think, 45. I'll be able to grow something, but yeah.
I love it. All right, fellas.
Keeps you warm in the winter time.
Yeah, it sure does. It makes me itchy and scratchy, but
hopefully I see you before Chamberlain early, but look forward to hearing or talking to you more. And now hunting season's over. I actually get my early phone calls again. He just disappears when it comes time to get time to come talk to me because he's not in the woods hunting something. Because I'm guessing you're probably still bow hunting, or you don't get anything that trips your trigger.
No, there's nothing big enough around here. Actually, I didn't even get a bow tag this year. First time in my life since I was 14 years old. I never purchased a bow tag, and basically because that elk tag with the unit that I had, I had from September 1st until December 31st. So I had a long time to be elk hunting, and I knew I was going to be pretty picky about it. So I put everything else on the back burner and just concentrated on this elk hunt this year. Was my main goal.
Well, I think you got it right. I can't wait for some elk jerky and sausage this spring.
You did it right.
All right, buddy. Great having you. Thank you, bud.
Yeah, let me say this before we go. Austin Earley, better late than never. Thank you for coming on a little bit late. Appreciate it. All right, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.